Okay, let's get things underway. Thank you. Right. All right. So thanks again for joining us today and for your support in the lead up to our second tranche. Remembering our first tranche migration was our pilot tranche in December, which ran very successfully. So tranche 2, which is effectively our BT Open batch, which commenced in July 2018, so 2.5 years ago. And those clients, as we stated then, would be the first to migrate to Panorama, and they are in fact migrating next weekend, remaining on schedule. So BT Open Wrap clients with an advisor are being done in this tranche. And I think just a quick question there from Heather in the Q&A. Apologies, you've been told different answers, but certainly we'll have a look at the portal again. It should be working, but yes, BT Open Wrap clients are being done this tranche 2, next weekend, the 20th and 21st of March. Okay, so what we want to run through just quickly today is just that final preparation for your tranche 2 migration. I want to cover off the support available to you, and then, as I said, we'll throw it open. So just as point of intro, for those that haven't met me or seen me, digitally met me, virtually met me, my name's Tim Rogers. I'm the Head of Advisor Migration for BT. What does that mean? That means my role is to work with our team, distribution team, and also with various dealer groups and advisors and practices, work with you all to deliver the most seamless migration that we can for you and your practice. We realise this is an interruption to your business. Our job is to make it as small an interruption as possible, because we're very confident that the end journey, end destination is very much worth the journey. So that's me in a nutshell. Let's kick into this. Matt, we can kick into our first slide, preparing for your tranche 2 migration. So just the next one, thanks, Matt. Key thing that we're in at the moment, and we've got some actual times there now, is our transaction freeze period. So 8 days out from each tranche is when these transaction freezes occur. And we're absolutely into that period as we speak. So for managed fund transactions, buys and sells, term deposit buys and sells, and model portfolio, preferred portfolio rebalances, then tomorrow 11 a.m, Friday the 12th of March is the cut-off time. Okay, so for those three, from that time tomorrow, you'll be unable to submit transactions. So if you've got any of those transactions that you're looking to do or you'd like to do prior to the migration weekend being next weekend, you need to have them in and lodged by that time there. Next ones we jump to is listed securities, obviously T+3 there. So that's 4 p.m. next Tuesday, the 16th of March. And online cash transactions are available all the way up until next Wednesday evening, 4:30 p.m. That, of course, all of these are Australian Eastern Standard Time. So for those in Sydney and Melbourne, it's the time displayed. For those in other parts of the country, you'll need to obviously take off the relevant time. But so for online cash transactions, deposits, withdrawals, etc., that'll be the situation. And for manual cash transactions, it'll be 2 days as well. But for checks, 3 days. So close of business 16th of March. So effectively, the impact is that those transactions we've listed there during this freeze period for effectively next week will be significantly a short period, but certainly unable to submit the transactions, and the manual cash transactions will be held and delayed until post-migration. So the copy of the transaction freeze period data is available on the digital hub, the migration hub, and we'll show you that in a moment. So you can certainly get in there and have a copy of this with respect to that. Also, this presentation will be listed on there, so you can get the detailed and specific slide that you see in front of you will be available on the migration hub when we upload that post this session today. Okay, next one, let's go. What have we got next to focus on? Our migration client list. So Heather, you mentioned that before with respect to not being able to see who's going where. This is available via key alerts on your Wrap desktop homepage. You can see there on the left-hand side in the picture, migration client list is what you bring up. And what this will show you is all the details for each client, first name, last name, their M number, etc. and also their migration date. So it'll say a date for T2 if they're migrating in T2, or if they've been excluded from T2 for whatever reason, we can talk about that in a moment, or they are in tranche 3 or tranche 4, then it will say unscheduled in that space there, migration date column second from the right. So this is your first port of call to go and see, okay, well, which one of my clients in this particular F code, so that would be the F code that you have for BT Open wrap, which of these are scheduled to migrate next weekend? Now, when we confirm the dates and lock them in as best we can, obviously, but we lock them in for tranche 3 and tranche 4, then we'll update this as well, okay? So you can go here and you can particularly see this. We'll get to some questions. We'll work on those at the end. Okay, so this is one point. The next list I'll show you, if we just jump to the next slide, is the client portal. Okay, so the other place that you can have a look with respect to migrating clients, and this is with regard to fee favourability, so we'll jump into that explanation in a moment, is the client portal. Now you access that from that tile. You can see the picture of the tile down there on the left-hand side. That'll be on the wrap desktop. You click on that tile, it'll take you through to this client portal, and that will show all of your clients, affected clients, in terms of their fee favourability under that particular F code. Okay. Now, what does fee favourability mean? This is the assessment that we've made for effectively for the existing fees versus that the client's on versus the fee that they would be paying on BT Panorama Open. So we do a point in time calculation. We compare those two fees based on their current situation. So whatever fees they're being charged on the rate card that they're being charged in wrap under that particular F code at that point in time is done. Then we would say, okay, well, if that client was to theoretically move to Panorama, i.e. when they do, what would the fee be in total admin fees, etc. on Panorama? We compare the two, and then whichever gives the client the better outcome is the fee rate card that they will either retain the existing legacy rate card they have on wrap, or if it's cheaper for them on Panorama Open, then they will be moved to open pricing. Okay, so this report here, when you download this extract, will be able to show you at a client by client level for each tranche that's moving. So obviously with tranche 2, it's open to open, so there's no, it's the same rate card in effect. So we haven't done favourability as such, there's nothing to display there. But for tranche 3, that information goes up. You'll be able to see for the various badges that are moving in tranche 3, you'll be able to see the affected clients, and we'll have that total list, total number if you like, on the front page. Then you download the extract and it'll go into it line by line. So that's a very clear example of understanding where your clients will be moving in terms of fees. So we've got the client list, migration client list on the desktop under that listing. Then you can click on this as well to get another version of that list, which shows the fees that they will be paying. So they're two key reports to go and have a look at. Okay, let's move forward. Migration weekend, what does it actually look like? Okay, so the purpose of this is just to step you through. So we are at, what, the 11th of March now. So for the next 8 days, in effect, with 6 working days, excluding today, and a weekend thrown in there, we've got those days to complete any final readiness activities. So checking your data, quality on wrap desktop, making sure that that's all accurate, etc., and getting prepped as per the migration checklist, which we'll have a look at in a moment. Come next Friday evening at 6 p.m. Sydney time, Sydney Melbourne time, wrap desktop will go offline. Okay, so again, any reports that you wish to run, anything that you need to do, information that you need to get from wrap, remembering that you need to have that done by 6 p.m. Australian Eastern time. So for those of us joining us from the West, that would be obviously 3 p.m. for you. It's when you need to have all your reports, etc., off of wrap, just for the weekend. Okay, wrap, of course, will remain available to you for 52 weeks, 1 year. We're maintaining wrap, so you can certainly get back into that. But for the weekend, the wrap platform will be offline. Then on the Saturday, or starting that Friday night, we start to run our various system runs through RAP and also Panorama. And then the data migration, the engine of migration, commences over those that 48-hour period. So right through Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night is when we go through this various stage gates that you can imagine do apply to lifting all of that data up out of RAP and placing it onto the Panorama operating system. So that all works through on the Saturday and Sunday, and we'll be busily working at that. Come the week commencing 22nd of March, so on Monday, we'll have communication out to you as to the success of the migration over the weekend. If for any reason the migration hasn't continued or gone forward, that could be a major market movement, perhaps in the US, a significant crash or something like that on the Friday night, or any other sorts of issues that may have a major impact on the market, or if there's been any issues with respect to the migration, which were unseen, or we couldn't proceed with the migration, then that will all be communicated to you first thing on Monday morning. So on the presumption that it will go as per tranche 1, we'll communicate the success of migration to you on the Monday. At that point in time, for those of you that are looking to communicate with your clients, it's a good time to send that email out. And we've had a template in the advisor toolkit, which gives you some of the wording that you could send out to your clients, just to let them know that the client communication will be coming from BT on the Tuesday, the 23rd. To go in, have a look at your systems, your data, understand that your clients have all come across, and get that communication out. Big reminder to access those support materials, which will be available to you, and to start your week 1 preparation, which is part of your migration checklist in terms of the tasks that need to be done once those Panorama accounts are set up, and we can cover that off in a moment. And then on the 25th of March, 2 weeks from today, you'll be hearing from yours truly again and the team as we have a migration, which we invite you to, migration webinar masterclass, which we invite you to join us, where we can just cover off all of the key components and the success of that migration. And if there have been any issues, we can give you an update on how they're progressing in terms of timings for various things to come across. So certainly a worthwhile webinar to jump into. That's 2 weeks from today. Okay, so that's the migration weekend. That's what it looks like from an operational perspective for yourselves. So up until Friday, close of business, no change for you. Your clients, you'll go home with your clients on RAP, have an enjoyable weekend, come back on Monday, and those RAP clients will be there on Panorama for you. Okay, Matt, if we can just jump to our next slide. I've talked about this, referred to this quite a bit. So the migration website, Migration Hub, Advisor Hub is the address just there, the bt.com.au/Panorama migration. And in the documents and downloads section of that website, you'll find the BT RAP to BT Panorama migration checklist. Now, this checklist is a comprehensive list of pre and post migration activities that you should be looking at and either ticking off as done or working through to it may not be relevant to your particular practice. So, for example, there's one in there on enduring rollovers, so that any external insurers, for example, where you have, a monthly or quarterly or annual enduring a rollover request, which comes into the RAP account to have those funds premiums paid, you'll need to reorganise that with the new account details to that particular life insurer. Now, if you don't have those situations, then you just cross it off as not required. But if you do, then you can tick that off and work your way through. This checklist was developed by us, and certainly we worked with advisors and practices in tranche 1 just to make sure that this is a very practical checklist and has been used in actual fact in the tranche 1 migration. So certainly this is a checklist that if you haven't started to use that as yet, I would suggest post this webinar that you go in, download that, and just tick through the things that you've already done, and it'll highlight anything that you may have missed that you may need to do, and also help you with that first week post-migration. Things we've learned from the practices and feedback in tranche 1 is allow ample time in your diary for that first week. So if possible, depending on the number of clients you've got going through in migration, clear the diary for the first week. Make sure that you haven't got reviews and things for that first week, to give you and your practice time to work through your particular data integrity checks, to work through any queries you may have from clients with respect to Panorama, them accessing it. We certainly recommend, and in the template we've put in there for you to send out to your clients on the Monday, recommend that you direct them to BT for any of their registration, Panorama registration specific queries, and that'll lighten the load on you, and then you can deal with their more specific and personal circumstance queries. Take that time to update the details with the relevant third parties, and also just review the Panorama training resources between now and then to make sure that everyone in the practice is comfortable with knowing how they go about it, what they have to do, and what is available to them to use. We've got some really good intuitive online tools in terms of a walk me process through for the registration, which makes it much easier for clients. And also with our chatbot, our artificial intelligence, very clever, learns as it goes. You can put your questions in there, it'll answer those and address those, and or it'll take you directly through to someone to speak to. So, a whole array of resources there available. But certainly in that first week, just give yourself that time and free up the diaries in that time is the recommendation from the practices to us that worked well for them, so they could be quite specific in terms of allocating time and resources within their practice to their clients that were migrating. Okay, we just jump to the next one quickly. Support that's available to you. So I just want to run through some of the support tools that are available to you, so you're clear on where you can go for help pre and post migration. So just jumping into the next slide. In effect, we have a whole array. So obviously these briefing sessions help with getting that information to you. The digital hub is very much the hub. I'd strongly recommend, if you haven't been using that or looking at that, jump in there. All the new information is in the What's New section on the front page. The FAQs will certainly address a lot of your questions if we don't address them today, and have a look through the documents and forms, the checklist, the email templates, the communication templates, etc. Certainly will help. Call our team. We have a team on hand available to you, client relations, your BDMs, your usual BT contacts. Absolutely call our team. As I mentioned, our online chats, our online guides available to you. So for after hours help as well, you can get through to there and address some of those queries if that works for you timing wise. And the Panorama training modules, the Training Academy, comprehensive in terms of the how-to guides, very clever how-to guides from Dave Giltrap and the team on using what is Australia's leading contemporary platform and a very advanced digital platform. Okay, we keep moving. Get through to some questions. Really important that we address all of your questions, and I'm joined today by Gary Burford, who'll be known to many of you, and Jason Brown, as well as Head of Account Management, where we will seek now to answer those questions. So I'll start to run through those questions now, just on the side, and hand some of them out to various clients. So I'll just check I've got Gary online and Jason online.
Yep.
Excellent.
Yes.
Thank you. Terrific. All right. So I think we'll just start from the top. So Heather and Michelle, we've answered those first couple. Aisha, we moved a client from select to wrap open at the end of Feb. This client is not showing in the migration list for this month. When will this account be transferred? If it's not on the migration list for tranche 2, it may have missed the cutoff, Aisha. So if it's not in tranche 2, then it will have been excluded and moved to tranche 3. So you'll see that turn up in tranche 3. Just a question, Gary, perhaps for you, on pension payments from Jerry Lombard. How will pension payments be treated? What effect happens to those pension payments in that month of migration?
Sure. Really no impact for clients. They'll receive their pension payment, their last pension payment in wrap around the 16th of the month. and then we'll migrate them over on the migration weekend, and they'll continue with the same pension payments on the same date, paid from Panorama on the 16th of the following month.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay. Thank you. Jamil's just asking, can we show again where the fee comparison is on the client portal? As I was only able to download the list of clients getting transferred on the 20th of March. Matt, perhaps we can jump back to the client portal slide, and that'll show the tile that we can we'll jump back there for you now, Jamil, so we can show you that. But in effect, go into the wrap desktop. There will be a tile on the right-hand side. There's that picture there of the gentleman in the pink-coloured shirt. If you click on that, that'll take you through to that image you can see on the screen there, the client portal, and then you download that report, and that will show you the fee favourability, the fee comparison. If you're having any trouble with that, again, just contact your BDM, your BT contact. Okay, Laurel, have SMSF clients listed as unscheduled for BT Open, however they are listed on the client portal list? Does this mean they will move across on 20th and to ignore the unscheduled note for these? No, what that will mean is, so those things that are listed on the client portal list will be those for T3. Any SMSF clients, if they're, doesn't matter which type of clients are, if they're listed as unscheduled for BT Open, that means they won't be moving on the 20th in that tranche. They'll be moving in the next tranche, tranche 3. Okay, so if they've got a date next to them, they're going on the 20th and 21st. If there's no date there, if it says unscheduled, then at this stage they're moved to tranche 3. BT Open wrap clients show pending, is this right? Also, the client portal shows that it's locked, which it was showing when I called, but was told it wasn't locked at your end, so I can't see the fee information. Gary, we can check that client portal, but I'm not aware of anything, or Jason, any feedback that we haven't been able to get into that?
No, I haven't heard that this morning, but Heather, I'll get someone to give you a call directly.
There we go.
Tim, as well, for tranche 2, I mean, everyone we're moving is on BT Open pricing already, so
yes.
So we won't actually have any fee comparisons for tranche 2 on the portal. Yeah,
that's right. So for tranche 2, as Gary mentioned there, it's BT Open to BT Open, so it's vanilla to vanilla, chocolate to chocolate, depending on your favourite flavour, but same. So no issue there. It really comes into it in tranche 3 and tranche 4, where we start to get that array of individual rate cards and different fee circumstances that have evolved over the 20-plus year history of BT Wrap. What is happening with the unscheduled clients from Felicity? Felicity, that as we mentioned there, they will be moving across in following tranches, and it's really just that they haven't got some of the information. Perhaps it could be a data gap, which will feed back to the advisors and request that data be updated. It could be something as a transaction in flight, if they've got something happening with respect to that. But if you want the specifics on that, please, again, get in touch with your BDM. Will we need to go in and redo regular investment plans once a migration has occurred? Gary, can you touch on that and perhaps some of the other things that are being migrated across?
Yeah, sure. So no, we're migrating across regular investment plans. You won't need to re-input those at all. And as much as possible, we've designed this to minimise disruption for clients. So as I mentioned, pension payments are coming across regular investment plans. Insurance, where you've got insurance through BT Wrap will be, BT Life Insurance will be coming across as well. All the cost-based information, I see there's another question there. Will the Panorama reporting include transactions that happen in Wrap for cost-based purposes? So yes, all the cost bases for the client's assets are coming across, all the transaction history as well. So yeah, just trying to make it as seamless as possible for you.
Excellent, thank you. And in terms of reporting for transactions, we've got that, but tax statements as well. So just reiterating that clients will receive in this migration year 2 statements. They'll get one from Wrap and also one from Panorama for this year, being 2020-2021 year. And then from next financial year, of course, they'll just get the single statement from Panorama. So that does go across. Client here, a question here from Craig with regard to if client has BT insurance within their BT Wrap, does all this get transferred across at the same time and payment details updated? Yeah, absolutely. So you still access that client and the information for that exactly the same. And with regard to your payment details, again, depending on how you're getting that through, whether it's being funded from direct debits or being funded from enduring rollovers, just check the checklist because there's different treatment for the different ways that you may have those premiums structured for your client. Question with regard to super fund choice forms to the clients. Will Panorama provide those choice forms? Gary, just want to touch on that one for us?
Sure. So yeah, these you can redirect you have 12 months to redirect your superannuation contributions, and during that 12-month period, we'll be contacting advisors and clients to encourage them to complete updated forms. And yes, we will be able to send updated forms out as well. We're in the process of investigating whether we can pre-populate those with the client's account details. So that's the only question mark at this stage, but we'll be certainly sending the forms out to you. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. Good one on pensions. So from Dion, will wrap open pensions coming across maintain the same date in each month for their pension payments? I can answer that, yes, they do. So there's no change in payment date. But Jace, I wonder if you could just talk about the flexibility available. What's one of the benefits in Panorama of changing dates and the ability to change those dates in future if that suits?
Sure, Tim. So in respect to pension payments?
Yes, thanks.
Yep. But that's one of the benefits that advisors have enjoyed is on RAP, you have one date that payments are made, and you can choose the frequency, so monthly or quarterly, etc. But on Panorama, you can choose any date and any frequency. So if you have a client that's been used to being paid fortnightly on Thursdays in their employment and then they retire, then that's what they can enjoy in terms of their pension income going forward. So we'll bring across, as Gary said, the dates the payments that are currently happening, and then you've got the option to update them to better suit your clients.
Fantastic, thank you. Yeah, certainly a point of flexibility and diversity, which is really popular. As you said, if people have been getting paid every second Thursday for the last 30 years, it's nice to continue that kind of frequency for their household budgeting. Jamil had a wrap open death benefit pension set up yesterday, and the assets not having transferred, will that be transferred to Pano this month? Anything in flight like that, Jamil, for an estate being settled, that will be finalised within wrap and then moved once that's finalised to migrated to Pano in a later tranche. So if it's still being set up, that'll be excluded from tranche 2. Corey Fisher has 100 odd clients in the position where they don't have email, and so how do they register with respect to that? We do have an offline solution for clients without emails and mobiles in terms of how they can register. They can obviously have access to their system online in terms of viewing access, but there are those and how they register, there's a form that will go to them, and we'll manage that for them. How they actually go about, you go about doing certain things such as changing bank account details, etc. There are forms for those. So anything really that requires that two-factor authentication, which we can't do obviously when they don't have that the mobile phone number, for example, then there's a form that we're allowing for those migration only clients to go across, but obviously all new Pano clients are required to have that mobile and email structure set up. Will Panorama have the same FDS tracking that is currently on RAP, and would those dates still come through, or would we need to re-enter? Now that will depend, on your financial planning software and what you use. We've done extensive work with Xplan so that the data feeds continue to go through, but Xplan have recommended that you get in touch with your Xplan account manager, so from Iris or from Xplan, and talk to them about some of the nuances, such as some of that sort of reporting or ComPay, for example, and they'll be clear on what you'll need to re-establish and what will flow through in terms of that core data feed running through for you. Melissa's just got a question. Given the pensions clients get a new account number, but it's not a pension restart, are you providing Centrelink schedules on bulk to Centrelink on behalf of clients, or will we have to provide them to Centrelink for all our clients? Melissa, there's no issue with respect to the pension details, super and pension details with Centrelink. All that will be reported through to Centrelink digitally. So there's no requirement for new schedules to be issued, or for you or your clients to have to go and physically take that in for super pension details. That's all being handled. We work with them extensively with Centrelink and DVA, so that'll come through digitally, and we can report that through, so that some of our most vulnerable customers don't need to be out unnecessarily in Centrelink queues and whatnot. That'll be handled in the back end, so nothing to do with respect to that. Will the Panorama trade confirmation reports have capital gains losses added to it? Losing this info from the BT Wrap trade confirmation report is not great. Jason, do you perhaps want to touch on that one for Felicity around what's happening in that space?
Yeah, so I agree. That's a really important functionality on Wrap that we're going to build on Panorama. We're not building it on this side of migration, but it's high on the list of the early after migration builds. There is a realised and unrealised gains report you can run, which has the acquisition dates. So if you're looking at things, for instance, a 12-month CGT discounts, and there is also a way to use the advisor models to dummy a rebalance and see what the capital gains implications are. But so those are options in the meantime, but we understand that that's functionality that we want to rebuild on Panorama as we had on Wrap. In the meantime, important to remember that the trades do still happen with min gain max loss algorithms.
Yep. Excellent, thank you. So yeah, certainly some future development coming, which is great. Always continual improvement coming on the platform, but some workarounds in the short term. So again, get in touch with your BT contact, and they'll be able to help you out with some of that. Gemma's just asking if we can trade straight away on Panorama once migration has happened. Absolutely. It's forecasted and scheduled to run over the weekend, and the Panorama platform be up for those migrated clients on the Monday. If there's any changes to that from anything unforeseen over the weekend, that will be in that communication, Gemma, on the Monday out to you and your practices. Will we need to complete new binding death benefit nomination forms? No, you don't. It actually migrates your existing death benefit nominations, will migrate across to the corresponding offer on Panorama. And if you want to have a look at the send, that'll show you in the migration notice, or in the send, which we've sent out to everyone. And there's a sample on the migration hub as well. It'll show you how that maps up and matches up. So have a look at that just to be comfortable that you know what that's moving to and what that terminology will be in Panorama. Veronica's done some sell downs of investments yesterday to do a cash withdrawal. Perhaps, Matt, if we can just jump back to the transaction freeze slide, would be great at the top of the presentation, just to show when you can do that cash withdrawal by the 17th. There we go. So online cash withdrawal, that's right. You need to do it before 4:30 on Wednesday, the 17th, Veronica. So if you can get that done online, that would be great. If you're doing anything manual, obviously that needs to, if it's a check or something like that, then close the business 16th of March. But I'm assuming you'll do that online. Does Panorama have the option yet to in-specie transfer out of pension super to an external provider? From Clarissa, it's one of the functionalities that we're building in Panorama. We're building a complete suite of in-specie transfer functionality. It does have partial functionality. It doesn't have that feature at this point in time. And it won't have before migration, but it's certainly something that's on the development suite and being scheduled post-migration. In-specie in through rollovers set to be delivered in the second half of this calendar year, and then in-specie in for contributions following that, and then no doubt in-specie out will come after that. As you can imagine, from a wrap provider, we'd like you to in-specie in, a platform provider, before you can in-specie out. But yeah, all of that functionality is being developed as part of that review. I'm not referring to external software. This is just, Dion, FDS tracking on wrap desktop only. Will it just be on Pano desktop only? Jason or Gary, I'm not familiar with that one. I might have to take it offline unless you guys can chip in with that one on FDS tracking on wrap desktop only.
So the wrap desktop will still be open, so you can go and track the history of them there. In terms of FDS reporting on Panorama, what we're building ready for 1 July is Royal Commission fee consent reporting. So being able to put dates in and fees that were taken in between any two selected dates. So that would then populate, you would use that then to populate your FDS.
Excellent. Thank you. And hopefully that's addressed that question, John, and my apologies for mucking that up and thinking you were referring to the FP software. So, yep, we've clarified that one. What will happen for Clarissa with accounts that are in the process of an in-specie out of BT wrap to an external provider? Will this still run smoothly? Yes, Clarissa, it will. Those requests that are in the system now are being processed, and if anything's midstream, that'll be pulled from a particular tranche, migration tranche, until that's completed. So we're not going to migrate and then have to do that halfway through. So that'll be done smoothly, as is the current process. For those migration clients who can complete a form to update details, as they don't have a mobile email, these are available on the BT support site, or do we need to request them? Gary, just on those forms, are they, I know they're in the process of being finalised. Have they been lodged, or will we be waiting for that migration to put them up and available?
Yeah, they're on the support site currently,
Okay.
I believe. Yeah.
Excellent.
I will double check after this meeting, but I'm sure they're there.
Perfect. Thank you. So, Aisha. Is it possible to turn off, just having a look here. There we go. Is it possible to turn off email notifications from Panorama? As for every drawdown, I get 2 to 3 emails. Multiply that by 100 clients. This will jam my email. Just talking about notifications. Jace, do you just want to discuss those?
I don't think I can answer that as well as you would, Tim or Gary.
Okay. It's certainly the notifications. We did a big review of notifications a while ago for Panorama. We started out with that process of, more communication is better. That actually wasn't the case in practice. It was very confusing to clients, but we'll certainly have a look at those specific notifications that you're talking about, Jamil, and perhaps talk to your BDM as to whether we can get those addressed for you, not knowing exactly, I know you're talking about the drawdown ones, but not knowing the exact situation. I wouldn't be able to address that here, but if you can get through to your BDM, and if you haven't got a BDM, if you can get through to client relations, and they'll be able to help you through with that one. Christine, a copy of the transaction freeze period. Well, it's right there in front of you, so you can take a screenshot right now if you like, or if you've got your camera on your phone, you can take a photo, but much easier. This is available on the digital hub, the migration hub, and this presentation will be getting lifted up to there as well, so you can see this particular version of it specific to T2. We have a client with 2 accounts moving from BT Open to Panorama, but one is noted. Sorry, I'll just get the question there. Of course, it's frozen. One is noted as unscheduled on the list. What should we be doing? I think the challenge there would be there would be a reason for one of them that has been excluded. Now, that could be a data uplift. It could be, depending on the type of account, the complexity involved, or if there's something happening in the background. But Vanessa, in effect, what will happen is the first one will move, that which is noted as moving next weekend in tranche 2, and the other one, you can get in touch with us and we can help you out with that specifically as to what's required, or you can that will of course be going across hopefully in tranche 3. So there would be a specific reason. Often it's data in terms of a data need. Jamil, I think you missed this question, quite possibly. Thank you for reminding me. If Pano account is moved to Pano Compact or vice versa, will the account number be retained then? Gary.
So after migration, when an account moves between full Pano and Pano Compact, my understanding is they get a new account number, yes.
Okay, thank you. And Gemma, if a trade has not completed at migration date, will the portfolio still migrate to Panorama? Yes, it will. The portfolio will migrate, and that trade, if it's been in there, will need to be re-established by the advisor on Panorama post that trade. So if you've got something like a buy outstanding and it hasn't hit, then that all pending trades such as those will need to be reset.
Yeah, I don't want to overcomplicate it, but in some cases, the pending trade can actually mean the account is removed from the tranche as well. So, you know, where it's dependent on the pension payments waiting for it or something like that's going on. But in most cases, what Tim said is right. The trade will just go across and be completed in Pano.
Yep. Okay. Terrific. And Jamil, just with regard to those 2 to 3 notifications, if you shoot me an email, I will own that one. I'll take that for you. In fact, don't even shoot me an email. I will call you after this meeting, and we'll get to the bottom of what's happening with your notifications for you. So Jamil, I'll take that one on board and answer that specifically for you with regard to the notifications. Okay, excellent. I can't see any other questions in there at this stage. Just a final call out for any questions. While we're waiting on that, Gary or Jason, is there anything else that you'd like to cover off in terms of this final readiness migration masterclass today?
No, only that these have been very good questions they've asked. So keep them coming, and just, yeah, as Tim said, send them through your BDMs or through our contact centre. We're getting better at answering them now, so hopefully we can sort out all of your issues before you move. Excellent.
A couple of new ones coming through. So will Centrelink be updated with new super details too, or just pensions? That's super and pension. We'll be going through on that digital feed. Another one, if a new client doesn't have email or internet, does that mean Panorama is, or email or mobile phone, does that mean Panorama is not an option? That's correct, Martin. The standing, the current situation with Panorama for new clients remains, so that hasn't changed, is that they need an email and a mobile to have a new account created.
But not for migrated accounts, only for new ones.
That's right, yep. Sorry.
Yeah. And you should just explain the logic for that really quickly. So migrated accounts are already legally set up in the superannuation fund of BT Wrap. So we don't need to go through the full onboarding for those. And so therefore we don't need an email and mobile just on migrated accounts, but we do for new ones into Panorama.
Excellent, thank you. A question from Tina in the chat. So I just found that one there. So if a client has existing accounts with Wrap and Panorama, will the migration process automatically pick up the Panorama account or create a brand new one? Gary, do you want to cover off on that one for me, please?
Sorry, can you repeat the question, because I was looking at the wrong one while you were reading it out.
If the client has existing accounts with Wrap and Pano, so they've got an account in Wrap and an account in Panorama, will the migration process automatically pick up the Pano account and merge those, or will it create a brand new one? Now, it will create a brand new one. I'll partly answer that, but just as to why, if you could clarify that.
Yeah, so we're not in the process of doing this migration. We're not proposing to amalgamate accounts in any way, so it's a one-for-one transfer. And the reason for that is you as advisors know best circumstances where that should and should not happen on client accounts. So that's the basic premise. But in addition to that, where clients have the same customer identification number within the Wrap and Westpac system, which a lot of them do, where their names are identical. After migration, they'll have two accounts, but they'll have one login to see both of those accounts. We call it a CIS key, CIS key. But basically, where they're the same customer, but they've got two accounts, they can view both of those accounts through the one login.
Excellent, thank you. Just confirming, Jamil, that yes, Gary said there will be a new account number when you move between Panorama and Panorama Compact.
That's the one I was reading because I had my name on it. Because Jamil's asking that again, Jamil, just let me double check that, and I'll contact you personally if it's different to that. But I'm almost certain that's the case.
Excellent, thank you.
Well, there's a couple of questions for Jamil, so and she's kindly put her number there, so I'll give you a call, Jamil. I'll pick these up, guys.
Thank you. Fee linking, will that be available for new migrated accounts from Sam? I can pick that one up. Fee linking, absolutely available for new migrated accounts. One of the features that we've recently enhanced on Panorama is extending that for fee linking from 4 out to 8 linked members, so fee aggregation. available for up to 8 accounts. The only thing there is that the migrated account will need to be on BT open pricing. So if you have an account that's migrated and it's on open pricing, absolutely can fee aggregate with any other relevant Pano accounts on open pricing. If they have their legacy pricing, if it's deemed that individually that account was better to retain its pricing, the existing rate card pricing, sorry, then you can migrate, but you need to convert it to open pricing or request that be done. We will do that for you, and then you can fee aggregate. So it's a question of looking at what will be the total benefit across the family group from including them in aggregation versus what they may be giving up in individual benefit from giving up their legacy rate card. So again, work through that. If you need any help or got any questions on that, get in touch with your BDM and Sam, and they'll be able to work through that for you. Okay. I think that has covered it. Can't see any others here. If I have missed any, I sincerely apologise, but I think that we've covered all of those now. Oh, sorry, one here now. Dion, related groups on Pano, once they are all over from RAP, are we meant to set up a new related group so the aggregated pricing can be applied? Yes, absolutely. So if you've currently utilised fee aggregation or related group pricing on RAP, then the discount that applies there will be used when they're calculating the fee favourability. So if they're getting a 10% discount, that will apply in the fee favourability assessment. That's point number one. But point number two is when they are migrated, we won't migrate them as a related group because there may be others you want to add into it, or however you want to structure it. So again, review those, and you may seek to apply the Panorama fee aggregation, which is a significantly enhanced benefit to the individuals that they currently get on RAP. Another quick question here, will grandfathered pensions continue to maintain the status with Centrelink? From Jonathan, absolutely. So no impact on grandfathering. That has been confirmed with Centrelink that they'll continue across. So nothing to worry about with respect to that. If a client has 2 or 3 accounts in RAP, will they need to register all separately in Panorama and then request an amalgamation of user IDs? Gary, do you want to just talk through that one? That's sort of an extension of what you were talking about before.
Yeah. So registration for Panorama does apply on a per account basis. So yes, they'll need to register each account. However, where they're under a single login on Panorama, so they're all the same account name, once you register one, you actually register for all of them, okay? So for most accounts, they'll have, say, 2 accounts in the name of Timothy Rogers, and they'll register one of them, and then the other one will automatically be registered. In some cases, Timothy Rogers will have 2 accounts because perhaps the name is different. Maybe it's a married name or maiden name or whatever it is. And they'll have 2 accounts and they'll have 2 registrations.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay, so yes, just check with those as to how they'll come through. Most of those situations, as we said, if they've shared that common identifier, then they'll be available under that one login. If they've got different identifiers for whatever reason, and that can be, they may have different products, for example, in the Westpac suite or wherever that may be, then there may be differences, but we can look at those on a case-by-case post-migration if need to. Okay, well, we've pretty much come to the end of the question run, which is great. Some fabulous questions, about 50 all up in total. So thank you very much to everybody that has provided those and sent those through. If you think of anything else, absolutely come through to us. Again, call your BT contact, give us a call in terms of your CR, client relations. the various forms. Jump online, test out the chatbot, test out Blue. I've used it. It's pretty good. It's pretty intuitive. Have a play with some of those things. I certainly encourage you to get on Panorama. If you're not a familiar Panorama user, and this is your first venture or foray into Panorama, I certainly encourage you to get in there and test the system, try it out, test some of those self-help tools that we talked about in terms of looking through there. But most importantly, download that migration checklist if you haven't already. Tick the boxes off. If you're ticking off everything in there or as relevant and done or irrelevant and not needed, then we can almost guarantee, never guarantee, but almost guarantee that you'll cover off everything that you'll need to cover off in this transition period. But it's certainly a very comprehensive, practical application of the things you need to cover in your practice to be migration ready, and then be off and running post-migration in terms of getting the best experience and all the benefits, the practice benefits out of Panorama for you, such as the digital consent and digital functionality, advised, managed accounts, all of the benefits and features that have made Panorama a #1 contemporary platform to date. Thank you very much. I'll wrap it there. We're going to, Jamil, you're going to get a phone call from Jace. Jason's going to give you a call and answer some of those queries. I believe we've answered and addressed everything else. Gary's going to check up that one with regards to Compact and Panorama, just to be sure, to confirm that. But other than that, I think we've covered all that off. So we're very excited about next weekend. It is all green light as we stand right now. We're all set, we're all prepared, ready to go for tranche 2 of our migration, the largest of the 2 tranches so far, with BT Open moving across. So pleased to be taking you on this journey, and we'll see you on the other end, on the other side, in 2 weeks' time. Please come back and join us, and on the Thursday for our post-migration tranche 2 masterclass. Thank you to Gary, thank you to Jason as well for attending and addressing those questions today, and thank you to all of you for making this possible by your attendance. Have a great day. Bye, everyone.
Thanks all.